What's up, guys? This is YouTube Vids. How is everyone going? It has been a long time since I've seen you guys, or actually since you've seen me, because I don't ever really see you. But I wanted to give, I kind of wanted to just give a quick update as to what's been going on in my life, because I know, for those who fall, who are the, for those who participate in Discord. Even in Discord, I haven't been very active, but I know that like if you're not in Discord, um, you know, me being active translates to how often I'm posting videos on YouTube, right? So I think that goes for the vast majority of people who visit my channel. While we do have, quite a few people that, do participate in Discord, which is great. And again, you should always look to try to get into Discord if you can, because, there's a lot of people from the channel there that you may know, or at least the people who are considered the regulars at this point. And so it's a nice little community to nice little community place to be at. And so I encourage everyone to go and participate in Discord, just so that, especially during these times, even you can feel more connected to, me and to some regard, and then to community channel members as well. But to kind of give you an update, so what's been going on? So obviously, I haven't been doing Sims, and you all know that. I mean, I was for a little while there. Every day I was doing NHL Sims, and especially when I was able to live stream them, it was a lot easier. And then I got to recording them, and then I had to record them in advance, and then I was publishing them like same day, and then I kind of changed paths and said, well, I said, well, I don't want to record them the same day and watch them the same day, because then that's like literally it was like that's like 6 hours or 3 hour no 3 hours, whatever time it was, 4 hours of time basically every single day of mine that I was taking just to record Sims. So I would like wake up and do it, or I would try to get off of work early and then spend 2 hours doing the Sims, and then uploading them, getting them, scheduled, and then, giving myself very little time. So again, there were some changes I made there, and then eventually I got to the point where I just stopped doing the Sims altogether. And I don't even remember how long ago it's been since I've done a Sim. Maybe it's been over a week or something like that. I haven't been doing my Ohio update as well. For anyone who was paying attention to that, I haven't been doing my Ohio update as well. And more so lately, I haven't really been very communicative. And I'll explain why. That's kind of the purpose of this video, so you guys know what's going on with me. And I definitely encourage you guys, if you're not in Discord or anything like that, and you want to let us know that you're still alive, or let me and other people know like how you're doing. Be sure to reply. Leave a comment on this and let us know how you're doing. I don't normally forget people from the channel, whether you were here like 3 years ago, or I just saw you earlier this year, or whatever. I mean, if how you present yourself in the channel or during live streams or in videos, like that's how I remember people. And I would think anyone who's been here before knows that I remember people, even if it's been like 3 years since the last time you were at my channel. So um but I wanted to say, like, look, first off, I haven't forgotten about the channel at all, so I don't want anyone to think that, like, just because I don't spend time doing stuff for it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want to, and it doesn't necessarily, but it also potentially means that I can't. And in times like this, this is just different for everyone. This is certainly different for me. Obviously everyone knows I'm referring to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it just a lot of it causes a lot of stress on people, including myself. So you guys have heard me talk about it in videos and stuff like that, and I know in some cases it's been rather negative. My talking about it, I've been rather negative about it in sometimes, and again, it's because it's just in some cases it's had a negative impact on me, just like it has on just about anyone else, right? And so I know people really want more positivity, and I if I could bring you more positivity, any level of positivity I can give you, I will. I see this jerk in the background over there. I can't point right. Look at him. He's back there licking his chops. Maxwell, you're such a dork. He's photobombing me, video bombing me. So any level of positivity I can bring to the channel, I certainly want to do that. And bring that your guys' way. Again, like, I don't necessarily get positivity brought my way every day. So usually the way that, like, I think I explained this before, when it comes to me in general, I am a lot of what I do is based on emotion. And so, which is kind of weird. I don't know that there's too many guys out there that function that way. Um, but how I feel is going to rub it's going to rub off. You'll see how you can tell how I feel based on the way I'm acting, any day of the week. So if I'm not very talkative, then I'm probably in a bad mood or something like that. I don't know. It just kind of depends. But either way, so let's kind of run through. I actually put together a list of things before I recorded this because one, I don't want it to take too. I don't want to record a long video, but chances are this is going to be a long video. I expect this video to at least be a half hour, so bear with me. But so first things first. I mean, I didn't necessarily plan on making this public, but I kind of did. I kind of assumed at some point I would, and this is now the point where I can. So I think I've mentioned or I've hinted in the past during certain videos, and some people have been surprised in Discord where I've said something about it and they didn't know about it. And so, I did end up going through a divorce recently. Actually, I've been working through a divorce over the last year. It actually almost lasted an entire year for this divorce process, but as of Monday, the divorce is official. This past Monday, the 4th, the divorce is official. And actually, over the last week, prior to this week, the stress was really high for me. Not just that was probably most of it, because we were nearing the end and tensions were growing and just things were, not necessarily moving fast enough, or we were waiting, a long time for certain things to happen, or it just, again, it's all these little things that have to happen before, things are finalized, getting signatures and attorneys and all this kind of stuff. It's just crazy nonsense. And so things were very hectic up until the very last day, like literally. And, it was just crazy. I mean, I would not like, again, if you ever decide that if you're married and you decide you want to get a divorce, come talk to me and we'll talk about it first and I'll give you some advice. So I'm not going to give much advice here, because that would make this video an hour automatically, just for that alone. But either way, the divorce was final as of Monday, and that was because of the actually because of the pandemic. Again, that was one of the reasons that was causing a lot of stress for me more recently, at least in the last few months, is because the pandemic caused court dates to have to be moved, and things had to be handled differently with attorneys and stuff like that. And so that prolonged things as if they weren't already taking long enough. It certainly helped prolong things. And honestly, like, for the magistrate that we met in front of, like, I need to stop saying like so much. I notice I do that a lot. But instead, in front of the magistrate we met in front of, it was the first time that magistrate had ever done a divorce, is my understanding, in a Zoom meeting. So we actually got divorced in a Zoom meeting. So that's how they're handling court cases now. And it sounds like there's a chance that even after things get opened back up, it may be a while where the courts may just establish that as like just the way they do things going forward, just to save people potentially time from driving in and all the other stuff. You just use technology, and hey, that's good. Although all that parking money you're losing from people paying $10 to park just to go to court for an hour, I don't know. Someone might be mad about that, but we'll see. Anyway, so that's final, and so that was like a huge weight that's been on my shoulders for such a long time now. That dates back all the way till the end of 2018. And again, if you've never been through it before, or you've never been through like the specific, if you haven't walked in my shoes, then you don't understand what it's like. I mean, I could say I understand now, like how someone else who went through a divorce, how they might feel, but every divorce is going to be different. And so you can't exactly understand how someone feels or what they were feeling while going through that process. And so it was a pain in the butt for me. It lasted way too long. I'm just glad it's over. So that alone, like, that lifted a huge weight off of my shoulder, and that allowed me to feel like I could breathe. So I felt like I had maybe the coronavirus or COVID-19, or I should say this coronavirus. or COVID-19, because like, every day you just felt like you couldn't breathe. It's like there was always this storm cloud looming over my head that I could not get rid of, and no matter what I did and how fast I was trying to get rid of that storm cloud, it just would not go away. And so finally get that stupid thing off my back, and now it's like, now I feel like I can actually breathe a little bit. Um, so I took some time off last week from work. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. I think it's the building pressure between what's going on with COVID, and we'll talk about Natasha in a little bit for anyone who's not familiar with her. But I feel like most people on the stream may have, or the channel, have heard about her at least once or twice in the past, and if you haven't, then that'll be new to you. But we'll get to her in a little bit here. But that's, again, like I have a girlfriend, and this whole divorce thing obviously causes some friction there too, because it's like, hey, you're supposed to be divorced, and I shouldn't be hooking up with some dude who's married and stuff like that. So there's that aspect of it, but so it was dragging me down. It's preventing me from being able to move on with my life and start fresh and be with someone new. And so again, it kind of it opened up the doors for that a little bit, obviously barring the outcome of the COVID-19 pandemic. So obviously we still have that stuff to work through. And again, this whole thing with the pandemic couldn't have come at a worse time. I've gone on about that in streams and videos in the past, and I'm not going to go on it. I'm not going to jump on that soapbox again right now, but I'm just telling you, like, this time in my life is like the absolute worst possible time, in my opinion, that could have ever happened. So, but so what I've been doing is, like I said, I took a week off of work last week, actually, because again, I think it was a culmination of the stress from just the pandemic and not being able to see her, and not really being able to have too much communication with Natasha, and then of course the divorce stuff. And like, I took a personal day the one day because of divorce related stuff, and it was actually a last minute thing with my attorney. I wasn't sure how long it was going to last, so I just said, look, I just need to take a personal day. Then, like, after I got back from that day, I really just sat and thought about things, and I'm like, I just need some time off. I mean, I'm sure everyone is possibly at that point right now, especially if you are still working like me. It's weird, I kind of get jealous to some extent of people right now who don't have to work. Again, it's one thing if you don't have to work and you're getting paid, but it's another thing, obviously, I understand, if you don't have to work or you can't work and you're not getting paid. That's a whole different story. So I'm not talking about the latter of the situation. I'm just saying, like, if you're able to make money, and if you're on unemployment and you're still making decent amount of money, I kind of like, it's kind of like, it kind of makes me sad that I'm working to some extent, because honestly, like, with all this free time, there's all sorts of stuff you could be doing. It's almost like a big long vacation to some extent, and I don't know, it just kind of made me a little jealous to some extent. But that's not the reason why I took time off. Again, the time off was just because my head has been mush for so long, prior to even the COVID-19 stuff, and then once this came along and added like additional stress to my life, it just like was way beyond what I've ever dealt with in my entire life. And again, like, if you haven't gone through it before, then you just can't quite imagine what that feeling is like. But so I took time off so I could basically focus on myself. I basically just said, look, I just need to unplug from everything. So I unplugged from everything, and honestly, I think indirectly, technically, I also unplugged from you guys as well. And again, like, that wasn't necessarily intentional. I wasn't actually thinking about that. I wasn't thinking like, hey, I just need to stop talking to these guys or stay away from Discord or not do videos. I just said, I just need time to just step back and just focus on myself, because and again, for a lot of you that are younger, you'll find this on later on in life, and maybe you've already found out about it, but like, sometimes you just need to do that. You just need to, like, look, world, I just need time for myself. So I did that, and I was able to come back after my divorce stuff was done. My first day back at work, I actually felt rested. I felt like, hey, I was kind of anxious to get back to work and see how things were going, and Like I honestly have not felt I had honestly not felt that in a long time. Um, it has been a long time since I felt like that about work. And again, a lot of that has to do with just the divorce stuff that has been ongoing for a while now. So that definitely, again, that's why I said that was a huge relief for me because of that. So I felt like better coming to work on Tuesday, and then like Wednesday, Thursday, and today, basically the same thing. Like my ability to focus has been much better um, because of this. And I never would have thought I would have been the type of person that anything could have distracted me that much from my job that I couldn't focus on work. But now that like I'm kind of past, I got one of these things off, out of the way, like I feel that sense of relief and my head seems more clear and I can actually make room to focus and all that kind of stuff. And it's just great to be able to do it again. Um, so yeah, that was one of my points. It's just, I've been able, now I'm starting to function better at work than I have in a long time. So hi anyone from work who's watching this, probably no one, but just you know, I'm sure some people may have noticed too, but it's like you can't necessarily use that as an excuse, but at the same time, like, no one really knows what you're going through. There were people at work that I told more recently that, hey, I'm going through a divorce. They're like, holy crap, I didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, I've been going through it for like last year. Like no one knows because I don't tell anyone anything. And you're not really, you don't have to tell anyone at work anything. It's kind of up to you to decide if you want to do that. But I'm more of a private person, and I've mentioned this in past videos. I'm more a private person when it comes to that stuff usually, and so I don't tell anyone at work like anything about my personal life. Like literally, very few people know that much about me personally. You have to be like, we have to be like considered like pretty good friends, you know, like someone I like. If I would go out and have a beer with you after work or something like that, chances are like a little bit more about me than anyone else would. But anyway, so what else have I been doing? So other stuff I've been doing, I've been spending money or trying to find ways to spend money. I feel like everyone during this pandemic has been trying to find a way to spend money. And like I honestly, I will tell you right here and right now, I make enough money where I don't think I should have gotten a stimulus check. But because of the rules around the stimulus checks and how much money you made, and so actually this was kind of like where I was glad I was married during the time these checks were cut, was because of how much we made as a household at the time when we last filed taxes. We made the cut to actually receive stimulus check for a stimulus check. And fortunately, because my ex was, because they gave her the stimulus check, the total amount of the stimulus check, because she's the one who filed the taxes last for us, which I will never forget that. um she got the full amount, and then she actually came forward and said like, hey, I got like this amount of money, like, and I said, okay, well, I think it's only fair you give me half. And she's like, yep, I agree. Like, and she transferred me the half that day. So I actually did end up getting some stimulus check money. Now, I'm not saying I just went and spent all that, because actually I have other plans for that, I think, for when all this stuff is over. Or maybe sooner than that, I don't know. But I have other plans for that money, because there's someone else who needs it more than me. There's always someone else who needs the money more than me. And so it would be one thing if I worked for that money, it was my bonus or something like that. Like, yeah, I'm going to keep that and use that for myself. But like, that was just a handout from the government. And, while I do appreciate it, I don't need that money. I'm sorry, I really don't. And so, chances are it's going to turn out to be some type of charitable donation to someone I actually know personally. So, but I have been spending money, and so one thing I have bought is I did end up buying some more statues or miniatures, whatever you want to call them. I got some new Walking Dead ones that came in, and I got a few WWE ones that came in. I was waiting to get some more WWE ones before I would go and create another video and show them off. Maybe I'll just do a video where I show off both the Walking Dead and the WWE ones. I'm not sure just yet, but I do have like several of them that I got in. I actually have like 7 or 8, I think, total that I got in, combined between Walking Dead and WWE. I've been looking at stuff for house stuff. Like, I was looking at my front yard the other day, and I'm like, you know what? The flower bed's not exactly. It kind of blends in with the lawn to some extent, and there's not really a definitive line. And I said, what if I put like retaining wall, like something in the flower bed to separate the lawn, where it kind of you can kind of see that break between the lawn and the flower beds. And so I went through Photoshop, and I was and went to Home Depot and was like basically mocking up like what a retaining wall would look like in my front yard, and trying to see if I like it. And so there may be something I do there with that, but I haven't pulled the trigger on anything with that just yet, because that requires me to go into Home Depot. I want to look at the blocks I was looking at and make sure the color is matches what they have on their website, or if they do actually have other colors that they aren't mentioning. So I do want to do that. So it's an interesting project to do, especially even, and I also was doing that around my trees in my front yard. And so it looks like it would look really nice. I got the opinion from Natasha, my brother. He just said, well, that's easy. But I want to try to think about that in terms of like curb appeal and how it looks compared to the other colors in the front of my house and stuff like that. And so there's other planning that needs to take place there. But either way, like that was one way I was planning on spending my money, was trying to add some curb appeal to my house and make things look better in the front yard. So, and it would make me happy to do that. So I would feel much better about my house and the way it looks if I do that. It's been the way, like I haven't really made much home improvements to my house, in any way, shape, or form since I've owned it. And I've owned this house for 11 years now, almost 11 years. I bought this house in 2009, so in July of 2009. So, I actually bought a humidifier for my bedroom. So one thing I go through every year, and most of you, some other people out there may have go through the same thing. Like every year around this time, you got sinuses and stuff like that. And like every year for me, they just seem like they get progressively worse. And like, I wake up with that dry nose, and you got the blood sometimes, if you clean your nose out like I do every morning. And I'm just like, it's just really annoying. And I hate waking up like that or having sinus headaches and crap like that. So I actually bought a humidifier off of Amazon, which got here in a day, surprisingly. I put that thing in there, and like honestly, I know when I walk in my room now, like I can feel like my nasal passages like open up, and so like I feel like I'm at least sleeping better, and I wake up and I don't have like and again, I've only had it for a few days now, but I don't wake up with sinus headaches. I don't wake up with like dry blood or anything like that in my nose when I clean out my nose, and so it's been doing pretty good so far, and so hopefully that keeps up. So that was a much needed addition to my bedroom. Oh, I forgot too, that's right. So I also bought new bed sheets for my bedroom as well. So I have new bed sheets. I happened to get those the same day as my divorce was final, so that was perfect, because until then I had the same bed sheets as what I had when the other person used to live here as well. So I got new bed sheets, new pillowcases. I got a new blanket that I use to sleep with now, and so all that's new and fresh and exciting. I bought myself some new underwear that I wanted to try out, because I couldn't find this brand, there's a certain kind of underwear that someone had bought me prior at like the dollar store or something. It was like the best underwear I think I've ever owned. It's the most comfortable underwear I've ever owned. It wasn't cotton. It was 100% polyester underwear. And if you've tried it before, you would know that like, oh my God, 100% polyester underwear is great. It's very flexible. It's very loose. But I can't find it anywhere. And so I bought something where they claimed it was 100% polyester, and go figure, when I get it, it's like 92% polyester, 8% spandex or something like that. So it's got more of a stretchy kind of material to it. They're pretty neat, but they're not like the best. And so I'm very disappointed in that. I mean, they're still good. The material still feels pretty good, but I want to have more 100% polyester. And I say underwear, I mean like boxer briefs, not like tighty whities type stuff. So I'm more of a boxer briefs kind of guy. So let's see. So, and then also what I did buy as well is I also ended up spending some money on this. So this is actually a replica Columbus Blue Jackets goalie mask. I just got this the other day from the NHL shop. It's pretty freaking sweet. I brought this over to my brother's house yesterday. I went over there. We celebrated Mother's Day with my mom at his house early, because this weekend is supposed to be like 40 degrees outside or some crap like that. So yesterday was 60 degrees, and so we figured we would do it at least while it was nice out. So we went and sat outside in his backyard while he barbecued up some hamburgers and sausage and stuff like that. And then I bought my mom a car mount or phone mount for her car, since she had one before and it broke and wasn't sticking and whatever. So either way, I mean, so that was cool to be able to get out and do that yesterday. And again, yeah, so again, those are some of the ways I've been spending my money. So money spending has been somewhat therapeutic, but I've been very careful about what I've been spending my money on. I've only spent money on the collectible stuff because I want to complete my collection. This was on sale. The hockey mask was on sale, and so I was like, hey, why not? I think it was like half price, so I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do it. It's not signed by anyone or anything. I just think it looks pretty freaking sweet. And I showed my brother. Even my brother was like, wow, that looks pretty cool. So my mom was actually impressed with it too. So actually my mom made a weird comment about it, but I'm not going to repeat that here. So that's something to share with someone else later on. But by the way, it is May 8th today, guys. I live in Ohio. We all know Ohio has crazy weather. You can't see out these windows, and I can tell because I'm watching it back. It's just bright white, but I have snow flurries outside, okay? I have snow flurries outside. There's actually a freeze warning for the state tonight into Saturday morning. That's how cold it is. It's actually supposed to snow overnight potentially. It's like, dude, it's the beginning of May. Come on. But the positive part about the weather is that midweek next week, I think it's like late next week, it's supposed to hit 60, and then it looks like we're gonna like normalize into like spring/summer temperatures. So hopefully after midweek, like the Arctic air that pushed in will be gone, and then we'll be normal, because it looks like it's supposed to go like 60, then 65 on the weekend, and then 70. And so it looks like the temperature at least is inching its way up, and hopefully it doesn't plummet again. So all right, so what else have I been doing? We're already at 27 minutes for this video. I told you it was going to be at least a half hour, and I'm about halfway done, I guess. But so the other thing I've been doing actually as well is if you've been in Discord, I post pictures. I've been posting pictures just about every day. I haven't done any in the past couple of days because actually I just haven't been working on it. But you guys may remember I was recording videos before where I was working on this 1,000 piece cat puzzle. The one with the 3 cats and the chair in the background with the flowers and stuff on the side. So in Discord every day I've been posting like a picture that has my progress. I was thinking about recording it, but the problem is that those puzzles take a long time. Like if it was like a 100-piece puzzle or maybe 200-piece puzzle, like that's one thing because the pieces are gonna come together really quick. But when you got a 1,000-piece puzzle, like it takes so long to figure out like, geez, what color is this? Is this gonna fit? Where does this go? And the way I attacked the puzzle actually was, and people would tell from the pictures. And I actually have a plan for something I want to do. I just thought about today, when it's all said and done, I'm going to do something which I think is going to be really cool, hopefully. But I attacked it where I focused first on, well, obviously the border, right? Because that's the first place you always start. You always start on the end pieces, right? So you make the square, you define your area, you know how big the thing is. And then I was like, okay, there's some flowers at the top, and I started filling those in as much as I could, and then I kind of ran out of like pieces that fit, and I thought I was going to be able to accomplish more there, and I couldn't. Then the next focus was then I focused on the chair, and then you could see in the pictures like day after day, like first I had some of the chair, then I had the top of the chair, and then there was a leaf that went across the bottom of the chair on the left side of it. And again, you guys will see this all in its finished glory once it's all done if you aren't in Discord. But that's why I said I would advise you to go on Discord. Just sign up for the Discord server and get in there so you can see the stuff that I share when I am active in there. And but I've been working on this thing, and I feel like it's about maybe 50% done. But man, it's taken a while. Like literally, I've spent hours on that every single day, just about. But the one thing I will say is that, and I actually read this on the New York Times email that they sent, like this was about like a week or two ago. They said actually jigsaw puzzles are skyrocketing in popularity because everyone's just sitting at home and they're like, well, what the hell do I do with all my time? Well, I'm telling you, if you haven't figured it out by now, if you have any old puzzles laying around, I don't care how many pieces they are. Well, hopefully they're more challenging than not if you had them laying around anyways. I've got a stack of puzzles that I've had for years laying around that I've put together at least once or twice before in the past. But normally it's been like a group, like a thing I do with my ex, or with kids or whoever else would come by. Like we would spend time working on putting those things together. I have a stack of like I think 5 or 6 1,000 piece puzzles of varying various things. So I pulled one out with the cats because that's the one I really like because obviously I love cats, and started putting that together. And like I said, I'm about 50% done. But the one thing I've noticed with it is when I'm done working on like just putting something together, when I've accomplished something, or I feel like wow I made a lot of progress today, like the amount of focus in your mind that is increased, it's just insane. Like I feel like after I get done working on a puzzle, even if you don't put together the whole thing, at least if you accomplish something and you're like, man, that was tough. Like you feel like you could like change the world. You feel like such a different person, and you'd be amazed. Like once you work on a puzzle or something that requires you to focus really hard, um, you can take that and then carry it on to something else that you do right after it. Maybe it's just cleaning the house. Like you can tell like you're just so much more focused, and whatever it is that you're doing after something like that, it's just insane. And so I would recommend if you feel like there's this thing I really need to work on, but I've been kind of putting it off because of whatever reason that may be, and you need to focus. The one thing I would definitely consider doing is making sure that I would work on a puzzle. I would just do it, and I feel like it would be unbelievable how much progress you think you can make, or how much progress you do make on something that you do after you spend an hour. Like, so what I've been doing actually is every morning since I've been going back to work, what I started doing was I got in this bad habit at work. And again, I'm kind of going off on tangents. So I told you this video was going to be long. I'm trying to keep it short, but it's going to go long. Um, I got off on this bad habit. That was a bad choice of words. I I established this bad habit for work where I would just like get up, roll out of bed, and then it's like, okay, go to work. Basically get up, walk, get up out of my bed, take the dog out, put in my cafe mocha, get that done, go use the bathroom, brush my teeth, all that stuff you do is wake up, morning routine crap, and then sit down in my office chair and go to work, and then basically work for 8 hours, and then and then be done. And like I felt like in the morning I'm like, I don't really have that much time for myself to like do anything. I'm like, I feel like I want to get up and like do something before I just go to work. Like it was the one thing that frustrated me the most, because then it would feel like I would just work. I would get up, I'd work, and then I would have like no time left after work. Like you just have so little time in the day, right, to be able to do things before you have to go to bed again and do this same thing or something similar to it the next day. So I started establishing a habit of waking up at 6. I've been trying to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. This morning was the exception because I was at my brother's too late last night. But I've been working on the habit of waking up at 6 a.m. So that way, by the time I get done with all my morning routine crap, it's like 6:30 maybe. And then I got an hour and a half. I try to start work at 8, and I got an hour and a half before I have to do something for work. And so with that hour and a half, I can do whatever I want. I can sit down and watch some TV if I feel like I just want to relax. Or what I was doing prior to today, like every morning, well, today and yesterday morning, I believe, every morning I would wake up and I would just work on my puzzle. And like literally for the first hour and a half of my morning, I would just sit there. I would turn on the TV actually, and then just at least to have something in the background, and then I would work on my puzzle. And then when I went to go to do work, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I don't feel like I'm just getting up to go to work. I feel like I'm getting up, and now work is just some other thing I'm doing as part of my day. And at times like this, like you kind of need those things to help break up in the monotony, right? You really need other things to help make things not seem so boring or whatever, make you feel like you're accomplishing something outside of just doing your job. And so, that definitely has helped me. It's helped me, and then I can spend time like with Peyton or the cats or do whatever the hell I want, like I said, for an hour and a half in the morning before I go to work. And it's it's been amazing how much better I feel by the time I go to start working. Um, and so again, I'm just suggesting this because if anyone else is kind of going through like the same type of trouble and trying to figure things out, again, this is something that you can do that might actually help you out. I'm finding that it's helping me so far, and it's helping me be more productive during the day, and it helps me want to be more productive at night, because even when I get done with work, I'm like, okay, now I want to go work on my puzzle some more. And so actually that's what I've been doing. That's part of the reason why I haven't been doing videos, is because I spend like that hour in the morning, and then like at night I'd spend like a couple few, maybe 3 or 4 hours sometimes, like just working on the puzzle. And then by the time I'm done, I'm like, okay, it's time to go to bed. But it's very relaxing. It's very calming. It's very, again, you're using your mind. It's not like, it's not taking too much out of you, but it's doing just enough to keep you occupied. And that's the one thing that people need right now are things to keep your head from like wandering all over the place and thinking about stuff, and thinking especially about the pandemic and just the paradoxes that go on in your mind at this point related to the pandemic. It alleviates your mind from thinking about those things. And so that's what's helped me the most so far. And unfortunately, I found that out like way too late in this. Although there's plenty of time left for the pandemic, but I feel like maybe if I was doing this a month ago, I'd probably feel maybe different now. Maybe I'd be maybe my head would have been more clear for the last month as opposed to the way it's been. But nonetheless, again, just some options, something to think about. Now we're moving on to the next thing. The next thing being Natasha. So for anyone who doesn't know who Natasha is my girlfriend, and I've known her since mid-January. Actually, I should say early January. I've known her since early January. I met her on, I guess I'll call it a social media app prior to my birthday, actually, and started talking with her on there when I was actually doing a live thing and talking with people, and like been talking to her ever since. And things were kind of moving pretty quick. Things were moving pretty quick prior to the pandemic stuff starting up, and that all got put to a halt. So one of the things though that's going on for her right now, for anyone who's interested, is that just like everyone else, she's stressed out. She's got a different lifestyle than me by a lot. I can't imagine what it would be like to be in her shoes right now. I don't know how she handles it. I honestly don't. I don't like, and all the props. She may not watch this video. Maybe she will. I probably doubt it. But like, I give her all the props in the world for being who she is and being as strong as she is, given the situation that she's in life right now. So, but she's stressed out just like everyone else, and so. And the one thing I find in common between her and me, actually, and this kind of translates to you guys as well, is that, when people are in heavy amount of stress, depending upon the type of person, for Capricorns, again, or at least I say for Capricorns because she's kind of the same way as me, but I'm kind of different with her than she is with me. So again, it's a little weird, but either way, like when you get really stressed, like sometimes you just don't want to talk to anyone. You're just like, everyone just stay away. Like, I don't need people to like, I don't want like help, I guess is maybe the way to put it. Like, I don't need anyone helping me. I don't need to tell anyone anything. I'm just trying to get through this. And so you just kind of push everyone away, and then you just like, I'm just going to get through this by myself. And then when I feel like I'm back to normal and I'm good, like then I'll start talking to people again. And unfortunately, to some extent, that's kind of how I've treated you guys. And again, like, so I ask, and again, I have to laugh because she basically had said the same thing to me at some point in the past, was don't take it personal, because it's not about you guys. It's not about like me thinking like, well, I don't want to talk to you guys or anything like that. Like, that thought doesn't cross my mind. It's just that sometimes you get so bottled up and you feel so tense that you're just like, I don't want to deal with anyone. I just can't. It's just, you can't deal with the stress or whatever it is that you think that you might be dealing with when it comes to interacting with other people. And so she's kind of that way right now. It's the same way as me, but with me and with other people as well. And so She knows that she can use me as a lifeline whenever she wants. I've told her that like a million times, that if you want to call and just kind of, I hate this, I hate that, I can't believe this is going on, I got this, and this going on. She's kind of done that a little bit, but not that much. But again, like, no one at this time should feel like they don't have anyone to reach out to just kind of like just let loose and speak their mind. That is the last thing that anyone needs right now, because of all the stress and uncertainty and stuff like that. Like, people just need people to talk to sometimes. And so that's all I always tell her. I'm like, I may have told you, I haven't told her today, I'm like, I may have told you this like a million times already. It's up to you to decide if you want to use it or not. But you can just talk to me about whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I will listen to you knowing that I'm just talking to you, or you're just talking at me. I'm completely fine with that. Um, Now, I did mention this in Discord, and again, for anyone who doesn't, know this, again, like, this is another reason to be in Discord if you want to know this kind of stuff. But so she told me recently that she was around a friend who was having symptoms of COVID, and she had been tested for like all these other different things, and all the tests came back negative, and basically the doctor was saying, like, it sounds like you have COVID. And so she was able to get a test, I guess, somehow. She was able to get tested, and her test came back positive recently. And unfortunately, what that means for Natasha is that Natasha was actually exposed to this girl. And so therefore, Natasha has been starting the self quarantine process, which, if for anyone who's not familiar, if you haven't heard of the news like a billion times by now, self quarantine basically is like, if you've come in contact with someone who has COVID, you're basically I guess more or less mandated, but not I guess not, you're not required, but if you want to be a good civilian, and do the right thing, you're supposed to self quarantine for 14 days to determine if you end up having symptoms or not yourself. The reason why it impacts her so much is because she does have like that kind of weak immune system situation going on. And so that could be something like this could be very deadly for someone like her. And so I've just been like every single day, actually I've been doing that for more than just when I found out about this, as every day. And again, like most of you know, like I'm not like someone who goes to church all the time. I'm not someone who used to pray all the time or anything like that. But I do know that a lot of people now, more so than anything, a lot of people are, of course, people find religion. I'm not saying I found religion. Don't get me wrong there, but I'm just saying that I will say that I've never. It's not that I've never prayed in the past, for people, but I don't go to church and pray, and I don't sit at my bedside and pray, so to speak. I might, like, I'll be walking around during the day and just kind of think like, hey, please watch over this person. They're going through some stuff. Make sure they're protected, whatever. I've been doing that for her for months now. I really have. Like, I've never imagined that, like, I would care so much about someone where I would think that I would be doing that, and especially someone I haven't known for that long. I've prayed for her like literally every single day. Like, please, like, let her mind get clearer. Please do what you can to alleviate her stress, because she doesn't need all this nonsense going on right now. It's bad enough with the pandemic, and then you add all this other crap. It's just like, I've prayed for that. And honestly, like, for anyone who does have religious beliefs, and even if you don't, and you do and you do pray, I would appreciate for anyone to also pray for her as well, because, or at least keep her in her prayers, because, like I said, I mean, it could be really bad for her if she ends up being positive as well, or ends up experiencing symptoms of this. She's got kids that she lives with, and so like that would be detrimental to her and her family if something really bad were to happen to her. Not to mention, like, obviously I would be extremely broken up if something would happen to her. And so I told her today, is like, I would never want to lose you at all. So especially not to this, like, that would be BS if something like this were to cause that to happen. So I told her, I'm like, I pray for you, and I'm hoping that you remain in good health. So, and not just for me, but obviously for her as well. So, so she's currently in quarantine, and like I said, if you guys pray, be sure to pray for her and her family, of course, as well. She said her mom was also in quarantine as well. So, again, it's not exactly the brightest news, but, I have talked to her here and there, and, she's dealing with this stuff as best she can, just like anyone else is. And, I told her today, I said, I'm sure you can't wait till all this crap is done, too, so we can kind of get back to us and sharing our lives together, because, again, it's been 2 months now. Actually, yeah, it's been 2 months since I've seen her exactly, just about to the day. 60 days at least, so it's very unfortunate. All right, so moving on. This is 45 minutes already. Moving on. If you guys got to this point and you're still watching, I applaud you. Okay, I do applaud you. Future plans for the channel, of course. I will slowly start easing my way back into YouTube stuff again. Again, it's just, like I said, it comes down to how I feel. So if I feel like I want to do something with it because, I'm feeling like I actually do want to put effort into it, then, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So, I'm probably getting back to the point where I'll start finishing the NHL Sims for sure. Because I know we do have those to wrap up. And then I know I came out with the announcement regarding the player sub simulation tournament for Madden 20, and I want to definitely do that, of course, before the season starts, which I don't think that's going to be problematic. So those are some things on the horizon that will need to happen. Obviously my hours are falling way behind, so I've been tracking that, but I haven't been tracking them as closely within the last couple of weeks, to be honest. I know the numbers are suffering. I know it's going to take a while before I can get monetized again. But once I start producing more NHL videos and people are watching, then that we'll get stabilized. We'll stabilize. So that shouldn't be an issue. But and then again, like the Madden created sub tournament. So basically, what I need to do to get things going with that is I need to verify that Madden 20. We didn't do this in Madden 20 before, so Madden 20, I believe, may have some different ratings potentially that didn't exist in Madden 19. And if that's the case, then I do need to do some work before I can open up the website for registration, like I did the last time we did this. So, it should be interesting. How this works out, but yeah. So, and then the only other update I had was, it's only been a month. I can't believe it's only been a month. It seems like it's been so slow, and of course, I'm sure everyone feels the same way. It's only been a month since the copyright strike against my channel, so I think I said it was 90 days, so we still got 2 months. We're about 30 days into the 90 days. Unfortunately, it sucks. But, basically 60 more days until I can live stream again. So, I mean, at least we made some progress, but, I know it doesn't necessarily help since everyone's at home, and then I can't do something that, it would be nice for everyone to have. So, again, until 60 days from now, or until I can find a way to dispute this with YouTube or NFL, we're basically just waiting, and I'm just going to have to keep recording videos ahead of time and premiering them and all that kind of stuff. So, and then as far as I think I kind of skimmed over this, but the Ohio update, I haven't been doing those. There hasn't really been a huge need to do the Ohio update, to be honest. Although I think it may start to make a comeback again a little bit, or I may do I may strip it down to just once a week now, because a lot of things have been announced since the last time I've done an update, and I would be very surprised if anyone is really using my channel to get updates other than maybe you guys as to what's going on in my own state. There may be some people that were, but because I was trying to condense it in as short amount of time as possible. But there's restaurants opening, there's offices that have been opened up earlier this week for Ohio. They announced in yesterday's press conference, they announced that Restaurants and bars will be opening up. So outdoor seating opens up on the 15th, and then indoor seating opens up on the 21st, and that's of May, not any other month. That's of May. Um, Salons and barbershops and all that kind of stuff, I believe, are supposed to open up on the 21st as well, if I remember correctly. So they're definitely going through and starting to open up. And they said on Monday they're going to have an update on childcare stuff. So it sounds like Monday will be another big announcement about the school systems and or daycare and stuff like that. So we'll have to see what that is. But most of my effort now with the Ohio update, to be honest, is not so much. The openings are great, and I think I might make a video just based on all of the different dates that things are supposed to open up and stuff like that. But my major focus right now for the Ohio update, honestly, is the numbers, because the governor made an announcement like a few weeks back or a couple weeks ago about, okay, by this week, by this certain date, we're expected to be accomplishing or administering 7,200 tests, and by the week after that it should be like 11,000, and then by the week after that it should be like 18,000, and after that it's 22,000. So basically they were saying by the end of May we should be at about 22,000 tests administered, or at least or lab results, and that actually for that particular day per day, which would be fantastic. And as of right now, they're not on pace to hit that. So the numbers have been, I think the numbers are about a week behind of where they thought they would be at this point, maybe even two. And so that, for me, that's what I'm tracking, because honestly, in my opinion, the true progress of the state, the way to measure the progress the state is making in all of this, is going to come down to testing. Because once they can start announcing that, hey, if you have mild symptoms of COVID, you can go get tested, then things are definitely headed in the right direction. It's not just the people that are like dying basically that are getting tested anymore. And so that's how things are getting better, or at least you're starting to not only just open things up, but you're able to test more because you have the capacity to do more testing. And then you can start figuring out like who had it and all that kind of stuff. That's where things are going to get really crazy. But that's what I've been focused on, and so that's gonna be my main point of focus going forward for any Ohio update videos I do, is gonna be on the number of tests that are being administered versus the amount of people that are being found positive. And we might get into some ratios and stuff like that, because one thing the news media is making a huge deal out of is the fact that states are reopening, but the White House guidelines said you needed to have 2-week trend of going, the numbers decreasing before you could open back up. And so now the news media are all throwing up their arms saying, well shit, like you're not even meeting the White House guidelines to reopen, yet you're just reopening everything anyways. And so everyone's all up in arms and freaking out about it and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I'm going to do some analysis there. So that's basically going to be my main focus for the any Ohio update videos I do in the future. So, but I'm done talking. This video went on way too long. I may end up splitting it up. I don't know, maybe. But either way, thank you everyone who, if you did watch this video, again, hopefully I shared a lot of information with you. Again, my intent was just to let you know where I'm coming from. It's where I'm at right now in life and all the things that have been going on for me over the last, month, or especially over the last week, and like why I haven't been as talkative and stuff like that. And so, and why I haven't been doing as much. And so hopefully that helps you guys understand like really what's going on, with me, and that, again, I haven't forgotten about you guys. I can never forget about you guys entirely. Don't ever expect that I will ever forget about you guys entirely, even if I shut down my channel for some reason, which is very unlikely. I would never forget about you guys. This is just a very interesting time in my life, but again, with all the pandemic stuff going on, things are unique for everyone right now, and that includes me. I'm not above any of this stuff. I'm not above being stressed out, or feeling dragged down or anything like that. I'm not above having certain emotions about this stuff and just feeling down in the dirt, down in the dumps about all this stuff. No one is above that. Um, unless you are like Natasha, where apparently she's got like she's encompassed in bulletproof vests. So, um, where she could just kind of like, well, you know what, I'm just gonna forget about this stuff. For me, I find it difficult to not dwell on things that even if I don't have control over them, because they're just things that like they're just so easy to think about, and then you just kind of think through things and try to figure it out. Like, is there anything I can do to like make something happen here? Um, that that's what's made this all very difficult for me. Whether it came to my divorce or it came to COVID or anything else going on in my life, it's just everything's been like this huge paradox for me, and that's made it very difficult for me. But every day is a different day, and every day I feel more positive about the way things are going. And again, I feel different. I may feel one way today and a different way tomorrow because of something that happened today versus something that happens tomorrow. So it's hit or miss. I guess I never miss, huh? It's hit or miss for me right now, on that stuff. But again, I look forward to getting back to creating videos and stuff like that for you guys. And then I definitely very much look forward to the point where I can get back to doing live streams and stuff like that. So thank you guys for anyone who's been committed and dedicated and definitely returns to the channel, to watch my videos, even if it doesn't seem like I'm not committed to you and producing content. Again, it's not that I'm not committed. It's not that I'm trying to leave you guys or anything like that. It's just, again, it's stuff. It's life. Life's happening right now. So I'm gonna end this video here. It actually is about an hour. But thank you guys again for your commitment as usual, and until next time, guys, bye bye.